We don't like talking about Donald Trump anymore. In fact, we're kind of stunned that we're still talking about him. We're also kind of stunned that somehow, like the founding fathers didn't sit around and go, guys, there's going to probably be a raging asshole who's the dumbest person, but also one of the biggest criminals we've ever known. We need to put something in to get rid of him.
Yeah.
Now we have the 14th Amendment. Doesn't seem to be working, right? The 14th Amendment. And now we've got a guy with, I think, okay, he's got 91 felonies. I'm willing to say, if we put in the Constitution, if you have 5 felonies, you can't be president. If we just brought it down to a limit, you get 5 felonies.
I'll go 90.
Yeah, no. In this specific situation, but 5, but 91 felonies, and he's got 4 indictments, and we don't want to talk about him anymore, but we have to. So we have, for the first time in American history, we have a president on trial for basically campaign finance shit, and we had the Little Pecker's testimony. David Pecker. Come on. Look, we have a relative that changed their name just because they were just it was mildly connected to their parents.
Right.
This guy has walked the earth with the word Pecker.
That's what actually, when she was here this weekend, I said I would change my name, and she was like, "Yeah, it only costs like $400. It's pretty easy. Right. I would never walk the earth."
And how old is he?
He's the name Pecker. Like he for sure got his ass kicked in school a lot.
Yeah. So David Pecker got up and testified, and David Pecker basically flat out
DP or David.
And this little Pecker got up and he said flat out that Trump had done, him and Michael Cohen face to face and made a deal with him to catch and kill all the negative stories and only print positive stories, which under campaign, so people go, why is that a crime? Well, because under campaign finance law, it's value. Like basically the Inquirer they sell about 300,000 magazines a week. So that's 1.2 million a month. So you're getting free advertising in a national magazine. And those stories also got picked up by other media. So you have to disclose that because that's worth something.
Yeah.
So basically Trump was not letting people know that he was getting free shit.
The fact that he was saying fake news, first of all, we could look at everything that Trump said and then go, okay,
projection.
He has been committed. We could forecast his crimes just based on everything that he claims other people are doing.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, okay, he did that. Okay, find that out.
He's lame about it too. He's lame about it.
What
are some of the shit he did that he did that he blamed other people for? He said Ted Cruz's, this was the Inquirer.
That was an interesting one.
Ted Cruz's dad had breakfast with Lee Harvey Oswald and they had a picture or something.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Ted Cruz is like, I don't even know what you're talking about.
Ted Cruz's dad had lunch with Lee Harvey
Oswald. I think it could have been brunch.
What was the cover?
We don't get the details. I don't know. Check the Inquirer.
What was the cover though? That JFK's assassination.
Ted Cruz's dad was involved somehow?
Yeah, something. And nobody ever did anything. I was just listening to people talk about how it's interesting because Karen McDougal is coming up, the Playmate, who he had the almost, 9-month relationship with.
Can I point something out? That all it takes to get a Playmate is money. All it takes is money with a woman like that. Because Trump, at that time, that wasn't that long ago. Wasn't attractive. Fat guy, orange, thinning hair.
She said she was in love with him.
Oh my God.
She said she thought he was in love with her.
Yeah, up until Forbes came out and said, yeah, he's not a billionaire. You know what?
I have no idea what I was going to say before. I had a whole point about Karen McDougal coming up.
Karen McDougal's coming out, sorry.
Now I don't remember.
Karen McDougal came forward.
Oh, he hasn't gone after Karen McDougal or Pecker. Sorry.
That's a Pecker.
And the theory on, because he goes after everyone, especially on True Social, he hasn't said a word about either one of them. And the theory is, you think you're in a 9-month, also Hope Hicks. He hasn't gone after Hope Hicks. And Hope Hicks, he loved so much that there were aides that were asked to dye their hair to be more like Hope's color. Like that was a whole thing.
Is that real?
Yes.
Wow.
Like he loved Hope Hicks. He still has not said a word about her, and she's going to testify as well. So the theory being that those people know more. Hope Hicks was always in the room with him. And so he doesn't want to poke the bear. That's what Andrew Weissman was just talking about.
And again, he only does it. He doesn't have shit on Christie. He doesn't have shit on Hope Hicks. He doesn't have shit on Karen McDougal. You got to remember these.
De Niro?
Huh?
Robert De Niro?
De Niro,
he never says anything about him.
He never says a word about
and
De Niro.
De Niro shreds his ass every fucking. He wakes up.
This fucking mook. Yes. Like De Niro literally gets up, turns his camera on, and starts screaming. Over and over. Over and over at the Oscars on a worldwide audience, and Trump's like never brings up De Niro.
Never says his name.
Well, I think why, because at the reality of it is that freaking Robert De Niro actually is connected.
Yeah.
Yes, and they like him. The mob likes Robert De Niro.
Yeah, and so
more so than Trump.
All it would take for, but by the way, this is again proves that Trump wants to be a monster, because all it would take is someone goes, because De Niro's just, you're right, for 7 years De Niro has shredded him. All it would take, hey Donald, what you should not do is not, Bobby, don't say anything about Bobby. Bobby's going to do what he wants. Okay, cool, good.
But then Robert De Niro could just make a wink or touch his ear or something. And then,
what happened to Trump? He suicided himself. Hey,
he's buried at Mar-a-Lago.
He fell and suicided himself.
There's a monument on his golf course.
So you were making this point in the Armageddon update that the reason why the Inquirer thing would have some validity is because who subscribes to it? Really gullible people. And
dumb
people that buy it. I would argue, and I've never thought that's what it was. Because a lot of people don't subscribe to it, but a lot of people grocery shop.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think of all the times I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that cover. The one that really stood out to me the most. I've never bought it. I've never picked it up.
But you've seen the
cover.
I
always stand and wait for the person in front of me, used to before I figured out delivery, and just stare at the thing while you're waiting, and you're looking at the crazy covers. And the one that really stuck with me was the one with a heavily doctored photograph of Hillary Clinton, and it was after she had that heat stroke thing when they were running against each other. And it said, doctors' medical records release, Hillary Clinton is dying.
She has months to live.
And they made her look fatter and grayer, and she looks crazy. And so stuff like that, whether most of us know the Inquirer's full of shit, but stuff just starts to seep in when you're inundated with it. It's just an idea that maybe Hillary Clinton's not healthy. Maybe she's not well.
It's a very good point.
They couldn't really publish it if it didn't have some truth, right?
Even if it's so outlandish, Hillary Clinton is having a Bigfoot alien baby, right? It's still, you're right, it erodes, even if it's total bullshit on the surface.
Even that one even that, right? That alien baby, you would go, but the Hillary Clinton not well, it was often his catch and kill and the kill other people strategy was somewhat grounded in some reality that came out right after she collapsed.
That's what the Inquirer's great at, though. Then they have the crazy stories. There was another one with the Star and the Midnight Sun. There was other ones that were they were out of control. The Inquirer had tried for a minute to kind of become journalistic, and they have crept over that way. So you do buy some of their stories, like they wanted to be people. Here's what I'll say: I think you're right. It's not just the 300,000 people that buy it every week. It's the 25 million that are waiting in line at the grocery store that are like, what?
That don't even buy it. They just see it.
It just gets sucked into their brain. Yeah.
And you'll watch people pick it up and just flip for a second, before. It's just surrounding people with fake news.